independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen forced out of the administration. Tensions between Nielsen and President Trump have been simmering for months, but reached a boiling point after the president's furious response to the recent surge in migrant crossings at the southern border. Just hours after a face-to-face meeting with the president on Sunday, Nielsen submitted her resignation, writing, "Despite our progress in reforming Homeland Security for a new age, I have determined that it is the right time for me to step aside." A source close to Nielsen said the two had a series of intense clashes and angry phone calls in recent weeks.
She was push-jumped. She knew she was done. She wasn't doing what the president wanted. She wants more. He wants more and more. When you work with him, you're going to... How many times have we talked about this? There's a sell-by date. It doesn't last forever. You're going to do 3 years of work in a year. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be angry. It's going to be frustrating, infuriating, and at times exciting. And then it's over, done and dusted, and you're going to step back and go, whoo, that was crazy. That was crazy. Some of it's not going to be good. Some of it's not. I'm driving in this morning. I'm driving in and I'm listening to some talking head on like an NPR show, and they're like, yeah, she's, she is the woman who put people in cages. And I'm like, what? What? But that's the way that people are going to look at her. She's the woman who put people in cages, even though stuff was going on in 2009 when Trump wasn't even thinking about running for president, when there was a different guy, but the media didn't care. But she will forever be known as that person, a heartless, horrible woman who put people in cages and separated families, and that's what she's going to be known. And Trump doesn't care. Trump wanted somebody who's going to get in there and do his bidding, who has no soul, in a sense where you could say anything you want to them and it just bounces off them because they don't care. She was speaking this morning, Ms. Nielsen.
I'm forever grateful and proud of the men and women of DHS who work so hard every day to execute their missions and to protect the homeland.
Yeah, she's going to say the right things, the things that need to be said. Because as far, she still wants to be a servant. Somebody else said yesterday, that she'll go down as the worst public servant in history. I'm like, shut up. Wow, a little hyperbole there.
I just want to thank the president again for the tremendous opportunity to serve this country.
Wasn't enough. Last week, the guy who was looking to take over the Border Patrol, he wasn't what Trump wanted. He wants somebody who's going to go do whatever he says. Hey, go down there, build the wall yourself, make sure people don't come across. I'm going to go try to sell it to the American people, and I'm only going to sell it to my base because the rest of America doesn't really give a rat's ass because they're living their life day to day, and it affects 4 states-ish right now, right? It affects that. California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas really feel the crunch. Some of the other states don't feel it like everywhere else. You go do that. I'll do the other things I need to do. And that's what he was doing this weekend out there in Las Vegas.
I told my people yesterday, our country's full. We're full. Our system's full. Our country is full. Can't come in. Our country is full. What can you do? We can't handle it anymore. Our country is full. Can't come in. I'm sorry. It's very simple. Get out. Sorry. Get out. Sorry. Can't handle it.
Country's full. Country's full. Can't handle it. We're full. We got nothing. Don't come here. Nothing to see. Sorry. We're full. Is it true? Is it not true? Is it full? The reality is, no, it's not full. Right? But that's what he's selling. There's a lot that we need to, as we break down immigration, it is not a, I read an article today that was just, and again, it's data, it's facts. How many people overstay their visas? They come here in a legal way. And this was just air and sea. About 400,000 people a year overstay their visa. These are air and sea. This isn't people who come across the border, drive across the border. But these are people who come here on vacation, to study, maybe a work program, and they just never leave for whatever reason, right? Some of them may be nefarious, very small few. But some of them, they come here, they fall in love, they just get into the world, and there's just no way to track them. They're trying in every way, shape, or form. Is it facial recognition? Is it biometrics? What are they going to have to do? Are they going to start having to put tags on people's, passports? What are they trying to? So many of them just don't leave. Things that don't get talked about. This is where we talk about full comprehensive immigration reform. Full comprehensive immigration reform that includes the ports of sea and what's going on in the air. When people land, they get off here. I'm here for vacation, and they never leave. The southern border is massive, and it's a real problem that we have. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not, even though everybody wants to make it a one-size-fits-all thing where we build a wall and everything. It's crazy. But we've got to do something about it, and nobody wants to sit down and have an honest-to-God conversation about it. Nobody wants to sit down and have a real conversation like, hey, how do we do this in a way that is going to be beneficial to the United States? What are the things that we need to do? How do we go about doing this? Nobody wants to do that because there's still too much politics, and politics is where the money's at, and you've got to be able to demonize the other side, and it's easy to look over and say he's a xenophobe, he's a racist, he's a Nazi. You hear that all the time, which gets your base fired up. His base is easy to fire up where he says, hey, they don't care about America, they're fine with open borders, and away we go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Hope you're doing well. It's a very interesting weekend. The Talking Head shows didn't have a ton of stuff on, but this guy, Peter Buttigieg, is getting a lot of love, and rightly so. I think he's very interesting. I even had a couple people who I know are extremely conservative, very conservative. Can't stand anything the left offers. And two of them tweeted at me this weekend and said, I'm interested in this guy. He's very interesting. These are guys who I know are they are Trump's base, but they don't like the antics at times with Trump because they feel like they get caught up in it, meaning they're the ones who are also demonized because they support a lot of the agenda, but then they get made out to feel like they're some sort of, racist or Nazi. And I said, check this guy out, Peter Buttigieg, who is a mayor from South Bend, Indiana, and he was on the Talking Head shows. He's been everywhere. He's not really declared, but kind of declared. He's raising a ton of money, and he's just an interesting character.
I would stack up my experience against anybody. I know it's not as traditional. I haven't been marinating in Washington here for a very long time, and I'm not part of that same establishment. But I would argue that being a mayor of a city of any size means that you have to deal with the kinds of issues that really hit Americans. It's everything from infrastructure to economic development to racial sensitivities in policing, not to mention the fact that I would also have more military experience under my belt than anybody to walk into that office since George H.W. Bush.
Yeah, which is true, because even though, and you guys are going to find this out, he's gay. Just want to let you guys know that. And his husband is playing a huge part in his campaign. Chasten, I think his name is, and a couple big articles about him this weekend and how he is kind of the secret weapon behind a lot of this. But this guy served in the military. He's done several tours. He is, and I think normally we get our presidents from governors because they've been in an experience where they've governed, where they've had to be the final decision maker. You don't get it in the Senate or Congress that much because you are just a spoke in a wheel, where governors and pray tell even mayors have more experience of running stuff, budgets, all of these things. It's very interesting. But he talked about, yes, what's going on in Washington, which I think will be a helper and at times a herder for him, because Trump was not a Washington person, and him not being in Washington, I think, has given him a little bit of an edge in certain areas. But at other places, it shows you what Washington is, because I think at times it's bitten Trump in the ass that he hasn't had that experience and he hasn't surrounded himself with people who are really, ingrained in Washington politics, which you need to be. And I think we're finding that out.
What I see right now is a country going through tectonic, profound change in an office that has a loss of vision and a loss of decency. It just might make sense for somebody my age, coming from experience in the industrial Midwest, non-federal, different background, bringing something that will actually help Americans envision the world as it'll be in 2054, the year that I will reach the current age of the current president, and just change the channel from this mesmerizing horror show that's going on in Washington right now.
Yeah, but the news loves the mesmerizing horror show, and they're just as complicit as everybody else. They love what it brings them, which is revenue and eyeballs that they're not going to get if there is somebody like Mike Pence or even Peter Buttigieg in there. It'll be interesting for a while, and then it'll be what? We're going to have to even manufacture more stuff because the guy that's in there now brings us a lot of stuff. Now we're going to have to come up with it on our own. But then he gets into talking of evangelicals. And he says a lot of stuff that is very interesting because he's a guy who is a believer, but he's also pro-choice. He's gay. And he points out certain things when it comes to evangelicals and Trump.
You said it's hard to look at his actions and believe that they are the actions of somebody who believes in God. How do you square that assessment with the fact that the evangelical Christian community is so devoted to his candidacy?
It's something that really frustrates me because the hypocrisy is unbelievable. Here you have somebody who not only acts in a way that is not consistent with anything that I hear in Scripture or in church, where it's about lifting up the least among us and taking care of strangers, which is another word for immigrants, but also personally how you're supposed to conduct yourself. Not chest-thumping, look-at-meism, but humbling yourself before others.
Yeah, well, you're not going to get that. First of all, you got to have an ego to be president, and this guy's probably got an ego too. But the virtue signaling that's going on the left is really ridiculous, and I find hypocrisy over there when it comes to because there are a lot of, and somebody pointed out today, there's a lot of pro-life Democrats who get completely ignored, right? And he's in an area of the country which is arguably, as Chuck Todd even said, one of the most Catholic places in the country, South Bend, Indiana. And so there's that fight there. There is. Because you're all about pro-choice when you got a lot of evangelicals and Catholics and non-denominational Christians who are completely pro-life. So there's where the hypocrisy where you're trying to appeal to them. That's a battle, and I don't know, but he is going to be interesting on stage, and he will make it on stage. He will absolutely make it on stage, and he is going to he's going to be a disruptor. He is, because he's not insane, right? You watch all of the other 5,800 people running on the Democratic side. And Obama made fun of him this weekend. Essentially, they're in a circle and they're firing at something, and they're all trying to virtue signal and apologize and get left of one another. It'll be interesting to watch. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Happy National Library Week. For those of you who don't know what a library is, they store books. For those of you who know what books are these things where you open up and there's words on them, but they don't move or do anything, and there's no pop-up ads. It's an old-timey thing that some people are making retro again. It's also a place where homeless people go to do stuff. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hey, if you haven't tried incredible high-quality meat from Butcher Box, you're going to get blown away. 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef. Free organic, ranging chicken, heritage bred pork right to your door. It is amazing meat. It really is incredible. Less than $6 a meal, comes right to you. And as we get closer to summer, now is the time to get yourself some Butcher Box. It's better tasting. The cuts you're not going to find, the quality you're not going to find anywhere else. And I'm talking about the best. And when you try their sirloin, when you try their pork, you're going to be blown away. I am. That's my favorite right there. They've also got salmon, sockeye salmon from Bristol Bay, Alaska. It is over 20 different cuts of meat for you to choose and customizable boxes. Get it now. Get it now. Butcher Box is offering my listeners the ultimate breakfast bundle. 2 packs of the best tasting bacon you've ever had, 2 pounds of their custom breakfast sausage, plus $20 off your first box when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Chad. That's butcherbox.com/Chad. Butcherbox.com/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
Texas Tech comes into the game known for bringing an extremely physical defense, beating up on teams like Michigan State, Gonzaga, and Michigan. Virginia, also a top defense, who's pulled off miracle wins against Purdue and Auburn. Fans from both sides have no idea how tonight will end.
It's just like Coach Beard says. It's 10 4-minute games.
It could go either way. We've been surviving and advancing, so I'm just hoping Kyle Guy will be able to just keep shooting his threes.
It might be a 42-40 game.
Virginia is a slight favorite going into tonight's game, but Texas Tech has won its last 3 games as an underdog.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting tonight because Virginia, they were a 1 seed, but Texas Tech, defense wins championships, and they were joking about 42-40. It is going to be one of those games where they're not playing above the rim. And Virginia got there in controversy on Saturday when it looked like it was great defense. They called the guy for a foul, and their best player got to shoot 3 free throws with 0.6 seconds. Not 1 second, but 0.6 seconds on the clock to send them there. So it's going to be interesting tonight. It's going to be interesting. By the way, I have none of these teams. Producer Phil, did you have even one of these in the Final Four at all?
Negative.
That's a negative. Just a wah, wah. We'll see, though. I'd like to see Virginia Tech win it. I think it'd be cool. I'd like to see Texas Tech win it. But if Virginia won it, they went out last year as the laughingstock, being the number 1 overall seed and losing to a team that played in the 16th seed. Never happened before. So if they won it this year, good for them. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Let's do a quick one. We call this our Urban Word of the Day.
It's time for the Urban Word of the Day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban Word of the Day.
Thirst trap. Thirst trap. What is that? That essentially is when you're on the internet and you see something like she has never looked so hot ever before, and it's like a professional athlete or something like that, or a guy with no teeth. That is that essentially is about getting you to click on the link. And it has nothing to do with the picture or anything other than that. Yeah. So it's kind of like a lost leader to get you there. Thirst trap is your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you.
That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Speaking of social media, we're going to talk a little bit about it. How much of us participate in social media on a daily basis? What's your thought of social media? We're also going to talk about dogs and cats. Are you a dog person? Are you a cat person? Are you happier if you have a dog? Are you happier if you have a cat? We will talk about that as well. It is the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is one of the first confirmed expulsions of a student in that varsity blues scandal who was actually enrolled and attending classes. Stanford says that it has rescinded the admission of a female student who, according to the Stanford Daily, fabricated sailing credentials in her application. The unnamed student is reportedly no longer on campus, and Stanford says that they have vacated her credits.
Here's my thing when it comes to this. Was the kid doing okay? Right? Okay. She got there in a way that wasn't right. But was she falling behind? Was she doing okay? Did you take are you refunding mom and dad's money? That's all something I want to know. Right? Are you refunding mom and dad's money? Are you taking that money and giving it to some other kid? Felicity Huffman pleaded guilty today. She says, I'm sorry for the pain I caused. You didn't really cause any pain. You didn't. You got exposed. So what? What did you do that was so bad? Well, other kids don't have that chance. I know. Other kids don't get a lot of things, right? Other kids don't get stuff. I don't think it's Chad, it's not a victimless crime. It kind of is, actually. Right? Well, yeah, but somebody else didn't go to school there. Good. Somebody else got to save their money. Some of these schools are ridiculous. It's just nuts. But for some of these kids, for me, right? Like if little Jenny or little Johnny's going to some of these schools and they're holding their own and in many cases doing quite well, do you kick them out, right? Especially if they didn't know that mom and dad did this. Because by the sounds of it, there's a lot of these kids who had no idea that mom and dad lawnmower parented their entire life. They really thought they were the best artist and that everything got to go in the refrigerator. Really? They really thought those trophies were amazing and that they earned them. But if they're doing well, do you kick them out? I think it's a fair question to ask. Do you throw them out of school? What if somebody's like got a 3.5 or a 4.0 and they're on the dean's list? And do you throw them out because mom and dad did something bad? Just so funny. I just want to be sorry for the pain that I caused. It caused any pain. Just take the money you spent on your kid and give it to somebody else and go into the inner cities and talk about, hey, I'm going to help you, whoever you is that you choose, because you only did $15,000. Lori Huffman, or whatever her name was, she spent $500,000. How stupid were kids? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I know there was one person that spent $6.5 million to get their kid into school, and you think to yourself, how bad were their grades? Right? Are you sure that little Timmy should be going to school like that? You could have just printed up something. He didn't. It's $6.5 million to get that kid into school. Chances are, whatever you printed up, he wasn't reading anyways. He might be eating it, but he wasn't reading it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Got a poll question up today. New study out that says people who have dogs are more likely to be happy comparatively to people that have cats. And it's about even when it comes to people who don't have animals at all. What are you? You a dog person? Are you a cat person? What they also go on to talk about is the fact that people who have dogs, those dogs tend to be a part of the family more so than the cats do. Because cats are so individualistic. You know, they're doing their own thing. They want to sleep all day. They want you to feed them when they want to be. My cat 3 wants to be fed whenever he wants to be fed, which is always, and I get it. I was reading, he's only got 3 legs. He buzzes around. He burns a lot more energy than the other cat, but it's still there. He can be annoying. 4 a.m. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, what's going on? I'm hungry. You want to play? You want to give me some food? The dog doesn't do that. Dog doesn't do that. 53% of you say you're a dog person. 5% say I'm a cat person. 32% say I'm both. And 10% of you say no animals for me. And by the way, people with no animals have about the same happiness as people who have a cat or a dog. I have lizards and a dog and cats. And I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy. A majority of people say social media divides us, wastes time, spreads falsehoods, and unfair attacks. Only a third say social media helps hold public figures accountable. So, 82% of you say waste time, according to a new study. 61 says spreads unfair attacks and rumors. 57% says divides us. 55% says spreads lies and falsehood. This according to an NBC News Wall Street Journal poll conducted March 23rd. Here's my thing when it comes to divides us. Does it really divide us, or is it just a tool where we can go on and be a-holes to one another? Right? Because it's not like it tells you what to say. So I don't know if that's fair. But I do like, look, is it a waste of time? I think it can be absolutely a waste of time. It can be. How many of you spend, I don't know how many hours a week, not a day, but a week, scrolling through your feed, whether it's Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is, Pinterest, I don't even know what some of the other ones are, and checking things out. I'm sure a lot. And you probably don't think it's a lot. But then when you go back at the end of the week, if you were to add it all up, it's like people who add up their calories and they take a journal for like a week or so. I really don't eat that much. They're like back like, oh, sweet, mamma jamma. So how many of you out there think that? Like, oh, yeah, I probably do waste a lot of time. Here's what we do. Social media once a day or more often, 69% of us say that even though we think it's a waste of time and even though we think it is dividing us, 69% of us say we do something with social media. 63% of us say, we pay our bills online, which is totally fine. So, but almost half say we've tried to limit ourselves to how often we use our smartphone in the last year or two, right? Which is huge. when you think about, oh, yeah, we're going to limit ourselves. We're not going to limit ourselves. We're not. We're addicted. We're addicted. We're totally addicted to social media and to using our smartphones. It was set up that way, and it's worked. It's absolutely worked. 24% say you use Uber or Lyft in the last month. I think that's right about me. I think I've used it probably 3 or 4 times, and I'll use it again on Wednesday. So, and Thursday and Friday, as I travel a lot. So, yeah, I use it. But, yeah, I mean, if the thought process of, we're going to get rid of social media. No, it's just not going to happen. We are totally addicted to it. But when it says it divides us, I look at this and say, that's kind of on us, right? Because that's our addiction. It's like addiction with drugs that come over the border. If we didn't consume it, there wouldn't be a need for it. And we consume it. So there's a need for it. Same thing with social media. Right? We're addicted to it. The spreading of falsehoods, that's our tribalism there. But I think it just gives us a platform to be exactly probably who we are in a very anonymous way. Things that we wouldn't say to people's faces, we now say online because we don't fear any repercussion that is going to potentially hurt us, because all we have to do is just mute it, right? Delete that person, block that person. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, my Lord, kids. I will tell you, the fight when it comes to the border is not getting any easier. Some of you are tweeting in now about, as we talked earlier, about what's going on. Kirstjen Nielsen, she says she's done. She's out. And Trump's got to look for somebody who is, I think what Trump is looking for is somebody who's going to do his bidding. Right? I asked you to do something, now go do it. And while there's huge turnover, right? So you got the Secret Service chief, he's out. You've got Kirstjen Nielsen out. And the question, I was talking to several people today about this, is are we at a point where we wanted to see somebody who was a business person? What would that be like if government officials were truly held accountable in ways that we've never seen? Because whether this is too much turnover or not, I don't know. But the reality is, and I think we all realize this, is what's not enough turnover is the VA scandal, the IRS, and what took place there, Lois Lerner and them. Those things, you looked and you think, well, that's not turnover. That's you moving them to a different department, but nobody's ever held accountable for their shortcomings. She's out. Somebody new's coming in. You always have a sell-by date with Trump for all intents and purposes. You know that. And then, now you've got a situation where he's been handed a loss in the courts when it comes to asylum seekers.
In the ruling, the Trump administration is ordered to stop sending asylum seekers to Mexico to wait out their cases and to allow those who are waiting in Mexico to enter the U.S. The order does not take effect until Friday to give the government time to respond. President Trump has said the policy is needed to deal with the crisis at the border, but the lawsuit claims his administration is violating U.S. law by implementing a policy not approved by Congress.
Yeah, and this is the battle I think Trump has in a lot of ways, and as all presidents do. You realize you don't have as much power as you think you have. You think you have all of this power. You don't have any power in a lot of ways. Yes, you have the power of the pen in a few things, executive orders, some things when it comes to immigration, and a few other things. But the reality is you're there to sell the vision of your side to the American people, push things forward, maybe be front line in starting some stuff and getting people inside of your party to do some things. But for all intents and purposes, that battle is there, and you're not a king, you're not a queen, you're not a dictator, and we have laws. As stupid as some of those laws are, including you get here, you get to stay here, which makes everybody scratch their head and go, I don't really get, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But I think he's going to have a lot more of these in the future, and I think the way he's looking at it is find somebody that will do this, that's willing to take the heat, and on top of that, we need to know that we've got the Supreme Court. So anything that's going to be challenged along the way, we feel we've got it in our court, if you will, to win these things. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. He is funny, though. I mean, it is some of the stuff he says, some of it is just, he's out there, isn't he? He just works a crowd. I'm still trying to see, when I see Peter Buttigieg and the Mayor Peter, as we call him, and you see even the likes of all of these other people that are running. Was there 643 Democrats running? I'm not even quite sure anymore. I've lost count. I don't even think there's anybody left, right? Is there anybody left that's not running? Biden, but he's waiting till this. Biden wants to be the last clap. You ever been in the situation where you want to be the last clap of something? He wants to be the last clap. But I look and I think to myself, who, if everything, all things being the way they are now, right? There's the fighting and there's the usual stuff that's going on in Congress, but the economy stays the same, and we see much of what's going on now, and it's 500 plus days from now, and you start to see this thing where it's between the last two, between Trump and whoever. Who right now on stage is going to be able to disrupt him and take him on? I don't know if I see that. I don't, because he sucks the air out of the room. And he's just a larger-than-life character. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Roman. Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. Free online visit. It's never been easier to speak to a doctor about something that 70% of men don't even talk about or want to get diagnosed, and that's ED, erectile dysfunction. They're just like, nope, I'll just ignore the problem, hope it goes away. Doesn't work that way. But when you go to Roman, and again, it's GetRoman.com/Benson. It's free online visit. You go there, you speak to a U.S. licensed physician, you can get diagnosed right there, and you can get prescribed and medication sent directly to your door, unmarked packaging. It's that simple. It's never been easier, right? You fill out a dynamic online visit. You chat with a doctor. You have to worry about the waiting room and the uncomfortable conversation. It is so simple. It is so easy. They have figured it out. You should too. Don't let it go any longer. Get a free online visit now. GetRoman.com/Benson. 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 It's the Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Daily Bats.
How'd you know my name?
Say my name so my powers may flow through you.
Wow! 55 million this weekend. Not a bad run for the old Shazam. I enjoyed it. Saw it yesterday. Shazam! It is every kid's dream, right? Like if you're 13, it's like, oh, what if you have cool superpowers? And then on top of that, you can be 13, and then when you say Shazam, you can be like a 32-year-old guy. So it's not like you're 13 and a superhero. You can be like a 32-year-old guy that's a superhero. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It is. Dumbo didn't do well. Has a big... People I've talked to said it's really good. But Disney, this is like, how bankrupt of ideas are you when you're going back to the well? And I get it, right? You got a big thing, you got the Mouse House. There's a lot of stuff you got to pay for. You bought Fox. There's all kinds of things. But you're going back to the well, and you're just going, all right, we did this as an animation thing all those years ago. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. And we're just going to roll it out as live action now. So it did okay. You know, Us is still doing great. And with a tiny budget, $20 million, you're like, that's a win. And Unplanned is doing pretty well still. And that is a movie based on a book about somebody who worked at a Planned Parenthood, had a change of heart. It's a Christian-based movie. And it's doubled its budget when you consider that first movie theaters wouldn't take it. And there was pressure for them to take it. And nobody would let them run advertising. Nobody would let him run advertising. They're like, we've got money. They're like, yeah, we don't want your money because you are pro-life and we're pro-choice. So that's a negative. But word of mouth, it's done pretty well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from each and every one of you. I'll be flying on Wednesday, and I'll be flying on a few of these airlines over the next couple of days. Let's see how they did.
Delta, JetBlue, Southwest. In that order, please. According to the 29th Annual Airline Quality Ranking, those airlines were best in terms of on-time performance, mishandled bags, customer complaints, and the number of times people were bumped from flights involuntarily. Alaska Airlines, Hawaiian, and United ranked 4, 5, and 6, followed by Spirit, American, and Frontier. The report shows customers actually complained less last year and had fewer lost bags. There were fewer planes arriving on time, but it was only down a fraction from the year before.
What? We complained less? Impossible. That's our sport. That's our national pastime now, is complaining. It's what Yelp is for. It's Latin for bitching, whining and moaning. I'll be on Delta. I haven't flown on Delta for a long time. I'll be on American this week as well. Flown on them like several times in the last month. It's, it's flying is it's just like, it seems to be always just one extra step, right? It's like, take off your belt, take off your shoes, bend over, jump up and down. Who's the president? And, you get there, you get inside there, they shut the door. It just seems, it's like, oh. But once you're like in the air and you're like moving, like, okay, I feel good. This is going to be a good thing. And then you're like, oh, like the flights I'm taking over the next couple of days, my worry is I have 37 minutes between one flight and like 39 minutes between another. So all it takes is one of those things where we're going to be delayed a half an hour. And I'm like, okay, now what? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from each and every one of you. Take the poll question A. You a cat person, a dog person? Do they make you happier? It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
If you were to have open borders in our society today, how would you deal with the social services connected with opening the borders, such as healthcare, medical care, and...
Who do you think is suggesting opening the borders?
Well, that you're an activist for opening for...
No, I'm not. I'm afraid you may be getting your information wrong. That is not my view.
Okay, I apologize. Thank you. Okay.
I think what we need is comprehensive immigration reform. That is not simply, you're quite right. If your point is you open the borders, my God, there's a lot of poverty in this world, and you're going to have people from all over the world. And I don't think that's something that we can do at this point. Can't do it. So that is not my position.
Can't do it at this point. But Bernie Sanders right there, not for opening the borders. And you can hear a lot of stuff. He's for opening the borders. She's for opening the borders. They're for not doing anything. Comprehensive reform, though. He talked about we need comprehensive reform. This is what I want to know from my Democratic friends out there, right? What does comprehensive reform look like? What does that look like to you, right? More judges. But, he talked about poverty. Well, we're going to have everybody from the world, everybody who's in poverty coming here. We can't have that. That's what we have right now. We have everybody who is in earshot of the United States of America that is struggling financially because their countries suck. Their governments are awful. They have failed them over and over. Chad, you said their countries suck. Get over it. Their governments are awful. They have failed. We give them hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and they continue to fail. They're desperate. They come here. That's not a reason for asylum. What do? What is your answer to that? What is your answer to that? I'm curious. What does that look like? Because it can't be, we got to give them asylum. No, that's not it. There's got to be more to it than that. There's got to be more to it than... Well, they'll come here, they'll see a judge, they'll go off, and then we'll give them a path. No, it's not. No. What is it really? It's got to be air, sea, and border. It can't be, we're going to put up a wall, Mr. President, and that's going to fix everything. It's not going to work. We need comprehensive reform. Kirstjen Nielsen is out. Not a shock to a lot of people, the way it went down. I guess they were in argument, but this has been coming for a while.
President Trump had been increasingly frustrated with Kirstjen Nielsen. She was long protected by his former chief of staff, John Kelly. She was his protege. And President Trump would increasingly blame her for the number of illegal border crossings. So it was always known that President Trump was not happy with Nielsen.
Yeah. So now what, right? She's gone. Who's going to replace her? He wants somebody that's going to come in and lay the wood, lay the law. This is what the law is. This is it. This is what it is. Somebody to really head up that. You know, when you work with Trump, there's a finite time that you have before you either run out of steam and you're like, this is just insane, or before he says, I've had enough of you. You know that's coming. She talked about the opportunity.
I just want to thank the president again for the tremendous opportunity to serve this country.
Some people are saying she's the woman that will always be remembered as the person who put kids in cages. Shut up. Did she do a good job, bad job? It's a no-win job, right? Because there's only so much you can do. There's only so much. The laws are the way that they are, where essentially as you get here, you only have to have a toe. I need asylum, and then asylum's what you get, and there's nothing else. You don't have anybody blocking them from coming, anybody stopping them from coming. Half-assery that is the Mexican government and the way that they've started to do things. They kind of picked it up, kind of, but not really. Nothing. Come on, let's be real. Right? So what happens now? The next person's going to come in. What's that person going to be able to do? Because while you still have, you've got somebody new coming in, the fact is you've got an asylum program that doesn't work very well. You got catch and release, just is a joke. So what's that person going to do?
The asylum program is a scam. Some of the roughest people you've ever seen. People that look like they should be fighting for the UFC.
Which, I don't even know what that means. They have tattoos? I have tattoos. Somebody criticized me. You're fat and you have tattoos. How are you like us? I'm like, what? What? What are you talking about? First of all, I'm not fat. Appreciate that. Secondly, I was bigger a few years ago. And yeah, I have tattoos. Get over yourself. But he's right about the asylum program. It's a joke. And whoever DHS has isn't going to fix that. So what now? I'm just curious. What now? You can threaten all you want when it comes to the border, but what are you really going to do? What are you going to do? And what's this new person going to do that's going to change everything? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from each and every one of you. It is going to be, I'm curious about this whole thing when it comes to, immigration. I don't want to hear, I want to hear from the Democrats that are out there. Like, what is the plan? Because I hear the Democrats running in 2020 and their plan is you got somebody like Julian Castro whose whole thing is we're going to tear down the walls and we're going to decriminalize people coming over the border, which essentially means is we're no longer going to have a country, but if you could please pay taxes, I'd appreciate that, right? So I don't know how that works. Right? I'm not a fan of that. You've got Bernie's like, we need comprehensive immigration reform. What does that look like? What does that look like? And we need, we've got to fix catch and release. We've got to really sort out the asylum BS. We got to sort out the visa problem, which is just as bad, if not worse. I think over the last 3 years, it was some 700,000 people, 800,000 people that have come here. They come here, right? So they're here in America. They're here for a reason. School, vacation, they're on a work program, whatever it is, and they stay. They overstay their visa. And they become part of society, and maybe they fall in love. There's a few of them that I'm sure aren't very nice, and they're here to do some bad things. But by and large, most of them are here, and they overstay it. And that's by just sea and air. That is not counting the ports of entry, which who knows how many that is. So we need a real comprehensive reform. And the first thing is we need to start changing the laws because the laws are ridiculous. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Doesn't matter, though, because in the end, it's really only about Russia, and taxes. We're going to get those things, man.
He said there's been a lack of transparency. He thinks the president should have put forward his tax returns before he announced or when he announced his candidacy for president, which sounds interesting, but unfortunately, it's not the law.
No, it's not the law. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they think they're going to do. There is a minuscule, obscure, like, small little loophole thing that the Democrats think they can get to his taxes. Okay, so they can get to his taxes. How can they do that? They want to essentially audit the people that are auditing the president, the IRS, to make sure that the audit is right and that they're not doing anything ridiculous and that they're not overreaching or not hurting the president, which then would allow Trump to go, well, I'm going to do the same thing to all of you guys because I want to make sure the IRS is doing you guys a solid and that they haven't done anything bad to you, which we'll get into tit for tat. And as I was talking to somebody today, it's like, well, we really need to see what's in his thing. I said, well, what do you want to see? You want to see his personal? Yeah, I want to see his personal. I said, okay. What do you think is going to be in his personal? Well, there's going to be loans. Not if it's a business loan. It's not going to be in your personal. It's going to be in your business. Oh, yeah, I never thought of that. No, it's not. What if he pays himself $100,000 a year? And people find out, oh, that's all he pays himself. You'd be surprised what people pay themselves, right? Warren Buffett's salary is $100,000 a year, right? So think about that. Does he make $100,000? Well, no. I mean, he makes a lot more than that. There you go, right? But a lot of people think that you're going to find something magical in here. I don't think you're going to find what you want. And most people don't care about it. But if you're going to spend the next 2 years knowing you're not going to get rid of the president, right? You can go after everything you think you can go after in the 350 or 400 pages of the Mueller report. You could pick and choose some pages and paint your picture, and then the right will pick and choose their pages, and they'll paint a picture, and the battle will be there. But there's never going to be something that's so overwhelming that Mitch McConnell and them are going to say, okay, we got to impeach him. We're going to do this. So what do you think is going to happen? And if you turn your entire 2 years that you have this opportunity to do something and you don't do anything as far as getting anything passed and through and signed, bipartisan or not, and all you do is essentially witch hunt, that's not going to look good for you. Some of you are safe because you've gerrymandered the situation where you don't ever have to worry. But others you may put at risk, and people may say, you know what? You guys had the opportunity. We gave it to you in 2018, and all you did was hunt him. That's a bite you in the ass. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson. Shoo is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Hope you're doing well on this beautiful day. Question of the day, are you a cat person, dog person? New study says people who are dog people are happier than people who are cat people and happier than people who have both. But people who don't have animals, it's about the same. It's about the same. And there wasn't enough information on people like me who have a menagerie of critters, including large lizards, but I'm very happy. And I have a dog and I have cats. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, what say you? Hey, if you haven't tried Butcher Box, what are you waiting for? It's incredible. Grass-fed, grass-finished beef. So amazing. Free-range organic chicken, heritage bred pork. Their pork is the thing I rave about the most. I'm telling you guys, try it. You're going to love it. You can make the box whatever you want inside it. They've got amazing wild-caught sockeyed salmon from Bristol Bay, Alaska. They've got over 20 different cuts of meat. You can customize it to whatever it is that you want. There's no added hormones or antibiotics ever. It is just the best quality, best tasting, more nutrient-dense meat you will ever have. And right now, what they're doing for my listeners is amazing. Less than $6 a meal, free shipping, and it is the ultimate breakfast bundle. 2 packs of the best tasting bacon you're ever going to have, 2 pounds of their custom breakfast sausage, plus $20 off your first box when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Chad. That's butcherbox.com/Chad. Butcherbox.com/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show, where we make no apologies, although we do say a few Hail Marys and Our Fathers now and then. Amen.
Kids with acute
respiratory infections seen via telemedicine are more likely to be prescribed antibiotics than those who go to the doctor's office, according to a new study appearing in the journal Pediatrics. More than 340,000 insured children were studied by researchers at the University of Pittsburgh. They say possible contributing factors include lack of an established doctor-patient relationship, limited ability to examine the patient, and different expectations on the part of parents.
Yeah. And, telemedicine is growing, and it's not an exact thing, but they also went and said that if you go to a certain clinics and you don't have that same relationship, you're almost going to get the same amount of antibiotics prescribed as opposed to a doctor. But the ones who have an established relationship, who is just the doctor, that's their general practitioner, go see him, they're going to do that less. And doctors don't want to prescribe antibiotics. And there's a reason for that, because it's not good for you. It's not. It should be the last resort. You have something bad, this is what you get. And we overprescribe. And in parts of the world, there is no prescription needed to get antibiotics. And what you're seeing is superbugs that are killing people and that are growing and that are drug resistant. And that right there is not good. Case in point, something that is traveling the globe right now and that countries are not talking about.
It seems to have resistance to certain classes of antifungal agents even before patients are treated with these agents. That's important, but it also has the capacity to develop resistance after you put patients on different classes of agents. So it has natural resistance, and it also has the ability to gain resistance while you're treating with antifungal agents.
That's not good. And if they're not talking about it, and the reason they're not talking about it is they don't want to freak people out. But, think about it. That was 100 years ago. We had a massive flu epidemic. I've always said when the earth has decided she's bored with us, she'll kick us off in ways that we've never thought about before. But you've got something that is not, I repeat, is not having issues resisting all of the things that they used to do to clean it up, including things in hospitals like cleaners.
This microbe, Candida auris, is resistant to the typical cleaning agents that hospital and healthcare facilities often use. So if we don't change the way we clean rooms, then the Candida will hang out there and could potentially infect the next person that enters the room.
That's not good. And if people are saying, well, we're really not going to talk about this, we don't want to talk about this, there's a reason for that. That's why you should resist over and over. And hospitals are awful. If you want to get sick, go to a hospital. There's germs, it's nasty. If you want to get sick, go to a hospital. And what ends up happening is people will take antibiotics for a couple days. They don't finish the whole thing out. Then it's able to mutate. It's able to go, okay, I'm doing this. I'm smart enough to realize what's going on here. And so then what it becomes is a resistance thing. It's not a good thing. It's not. So be prepared, kids. Be prepared. Hey, speaking of prepared, Iran, are you?
Sanctions that have already been on the books against some of this organization's top leaders, some of their business entities. Anybody that does business with them now faces American criminal prosecution. That's what we're talking about here. So this is adding teeth to the sanctions that we've always heard about over the last couple of years when it comes to Iran. There's no secret that Iran has been considered to be a sponsor of terrorism when it comes to Yemen, when it comes to Syria, when it comes to even in Iraq, where hundreds of American troops were killed by Iranian-sponsored Shiite groups that targeted American military officers inside Iraq.
Yeah, we had soldiers killed today in Afghanistan, and Iran, as we've all known forever, has been the largest state sponsor of terror. It continues to be so, right? Despite all of the, the whole thing with what Obama did and that deal, which was an awful deal. If we're just honest with ourselves, it was an awful deal. It was. And I'm glad we got out of it. We should never have been in it in the first place, in the hopes that they were going to do something. But they still are the largest state sponsor of terror. And anytime we can make it tougher for them, I got no problem with that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet at us. Got a poll question up about cats and dogs. Are you a dog person, cat person? How happy are you? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's The Chad Benson Show.
There is a different standard here between the Republicans and the Democrats. The Republicans seem to think that as long as you can't prove it's a crime, then all is fair in love and war, that it's all okay what the Trump administration does. What I've been saying all along is that the evidence that I'm concerned about is in plain sight. If the fact that the president called on the Russians to hack Hillary's emails, if the fact that Don Jr. said he loved to get the Russians help, all of this is in plain sight. If the Republicans think that's perfectly fine because it doesn't amount to the crime of conspiracy, then we are going to part company.
Adam Dipshiff right there. He's just awful. He is not giving it up. And CNN he is on there. They should pay him. He's at the point now where he is a political contributor to CNN 24/7. He is just going to do everything. Well, we're at the point if they can't prove it, then we think it should be okay. What have I always said? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. You could say the same thing about Hillary and her emails, right? They were out there defending them left, right, and center. Not that we should, right? Not that we should. But it's just so politics at this point in time. And whatever's going to happen, know this. Nothing's going to change. Even when this report comes out, whenever that is, that even if they got the whole report, they would pick and choose, both sides, everything that they needed to go out and to make their case to the American people. And the only people they'll be talking directly at are their own people, because everybody else doesn't care. You and I, we're living our lives. We don't care. Poll after poll, study after study says the same thing. Care about health care, care about immigration, we care about the economy. We don't really care about this. Read us the Cliff Notes, but people have already made up their minds. People have already made up their minds. So we're moving on. You want to turn it into something, you go ahead and do it. You think the American people, this is all they care about, is you going after his taxes and still trying to get him in this, and you promised the American people that you were going to what? You were going to listen to whatever Mueller had to say, and you're going to be fine with it. When he didn't deliver what you wanted, you're like changing it up. Nobody cares. Make this what this is your Congress and the Senate. This is all you guys are going to do is fight over this over the next 2 years. That's fine. Smarter people out there will see an advantage, take an advantage, run with it, and hopefully get some of you SOBs out of there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So there is a new study out that says people who own dogs are happier than people who own cats. 36% of people said they're very happy when it comes to dogs. 36%. Dog and cat, 28%. Cat alone, 18%. And no pets, 32%. So dog or no pets are about the same. Dog and cat, about 28%. Cat only, 18%. I have both. I have Doodle, and I have my cat 3. I love my cat. I love my cat, and I love Doodle the dog. But I'm also a lizard guy, and that's one of the things they said. They couldn't really, there wasn't enough out there of other pet owners to see if that played anything into it. Right? Seek comfort from their pet. Dog owners, 63%. Cat owners, 51%. You know why? Because cats are independent. They don't care if you're unhappy. They care about their happiness. Right? That's it. Dog owners care. And dogs care. Are you unhappy? You look unhappy. You feel unhappy? You're totally sad? Let me come over and pet you. And you pet me, and I'll sit there. Rah, rah, rah. They're fine. Playing with their pets. Dog owners, 76%. Cat owners, 65%. Consider their pet a member of the family. 93% of people own dogs. 83% of cat owners. See, now for me, I've got my lizards as well as my other stuff. Winston is my big lizard who wanders the house and everything, and he's got his own area. He doesn't have a cage. He lives in the front room, and then he goes outside. He's outside right now, having a good day. It's beautiful. It's sunny. It's going to be very warm here today. I'm out here in Phoenix, and it's going to be near 100. His life is wonderful. I consider him a pet more than I do some of my other big ones, my other big lizards, because they're more looking at lizards. They're not cuddly lizards where he will come over and he'll sit there and sit on your lap and he's got a personality. How do you feel? It's the question of the day. 54% of you say you're a dog person. 4% say I'm a cat person. 29% said both. 13% said no animals. No animals whatsoever. If that's who you want to be, then you be that. If that's who you want to be. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So we talk about like immigration. It's a perfect example of what's going on in our world of immigration, right? So we talk about where we are in immigration. Over the weekend, Trump's out there. He's in Vegas talking about our country.
I told my people yesterday, our country's full. We're full. Our system's full. Our country is full. Can't come in. Our country is full. What can you do? We can't handle it anymore. Our country is full. Can't come in. I'm sorry. It's very simple.
Very
simple.
Get
out. Sorry. Get out. Sorry. Can't handle it.
Get out. Sorry. Can't handle it. The question is the country really full?
The president may be claiming, quote, the country is full. But according to the U.S. Census, that may not be so accurate. A December 2018 report found the population of the U.S. grew at its slowest pace in more than 8 decades due to an increase in the number of deaths and a decline in the number of births. The last time it was this slow was during the Great Depression. And in order to maintain the status quo, many academics say immigrants are necessary. The census predicting by 2030, immigration will be the primary driver of population growth as the number of older Americans are expected to overtake the younger generations. A 2017 Pew report found immigrant women boosted the annual number of births nationwide in all but 2 U.S. states.
And this is the battle, right? Because And I've tried to explain it. It's not brown versus white. It's not. When people turn into that, it's because they want to make it a race. They see race in everything. So it's always about race, even though they want everybody to be equal and even and everything. We only see, each other as individual human beings, as Americans. And that's where Americans, that's a big thing right there. It's a huge, huge thing because that's the fight that's going on. It's a cultural battle that's happening. We need immigration. We need smart immigration reform. We need absolutely smart immigration reform, and we're not getting it. We're not. We're getting the battle, but we're not getting anything that has to do with us coming to an end of the battle and war with comprehensive reform. People are coming here because they see economic opportunities, and oddly enough, as much as he fights against people coming here, and a lot of what Trump has done has made it so people want to come here.
The best earnings increase in a decade. It's not normal for this level of job growth to be happening so far into an economic expansion. And it's not some kind of accident caused by, global conditions or something. In fact, the global economy is doing poorly. It's America that's booming. And that is the direct result of pro-growth policies pursued with vigor by this administration. Not just the tax cut, but the deregulation, which is giving American business the confidence to invest in new plant and machinery. That raises worker productivity, which is finally going up after years of stagnation.
Yeah, that's true. Right? That's true. It's finally going up. We're seeing a lot of things happening here. And because of the change in policy, because we've deregulated a lot of things, and remember, a lot of the stuff that we've deregulated were things that were ridiculous, that were overreaching, and in many cases, they were regulations on top of regulations on top of regulations. But when the economy starts to boom, guess what? Yeah, immigration starts to happen as well because people are looking around and they're struggling and they're saying, there's the golden goose. It's happened for years. What we saw in the downturn in the economy, more people were leaving the country because the jobs weren't here.
And so you see why the immigration issue is so connected to the economy issue. Controlling immigration is not about prejudice or xenophobia or hating brown people. It's about an economy that delivers for working Americans.
Yeah. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing. But we've just got to redo the entire thing. I mean, everything. It just can't be the border. Even though that's what the left will make it strictly about the border, but Trump needs somebody who's going to come in there now that Nielsen is leaving, Christian Nielsen, now that she's leaving, that is going to look at everything and make it all about everything and change the narrative and take the narrative back from the Democrats rather than say you're a xenophobe, you're a racist, you're all of these things, saying, you know what we're going to do? We're looking across the board about making this a better opportunity so people can come here. We want to know who's coming here. But at the same time, right? At the same time, it is going to be all hands on deck. We're going to fix this in a right way. All hands on deck. We're going to fix the southern border as much as we possibly can. We're going to control who comes in and out of our country as far as how long they're overstaying their visas. And if you see the latest data on visas and how many people are overstaying the visas, you're like, whoa, almost 1,000 people a day are overstaying their visas. There's a lot that goes into this. But when the economy booms and it's strong, this is what you get. But we need immigration. We need immigration done right, though. We need the best and the brightest, and we also need just some people who are just plain workers. But we also need to know that we have a culture in this country that will continue to exist. The reason people come here is because our culture is amazing, because what we have built is amazing. Obama said it a few years ago. Greatest time in human history right now. You look around. We live in the greatest country at the greatest time in human history. For all the mass hysteria and the lunacy and the wackiness and we're all so divided, it's all a bunch of crap. We live in the best time ever. So, of course, people are going to want to come here. Who wouldn't? But the reason that people want to come here is because we've built that on a culture. And to want to get rid of it, which I see a lot of people, it's unfair, it's this, it's that. No. And that's what we need to start figuring out. Who really wants to be here? Who wants to be a part of America? Who wants to embrace themselves in the culture, wrap themselves in the flag and say, this is why we're here? Because we are going to need, because we're not having kids. We're not going to be having kids the way that we used to. And guess what? A lot of the rest of the world who are going to emerge even more and more as our economic, at least try to become our economic equals, they are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. It's simple. It's easy. It's a free visit. Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. 70% of men who have erectile dysfunction do not get checked out because they don't want it. They're uncomfortable, think it's going to get better. And, guys, we're not great at always taking care of ourselves. It doesn't matter what it is, right? You get a twinge in your back, and it's no big deal. We are always guilty of what? Just trying to rub a little dirt on it, walk it off. No. Roman's amazing. They've created the easiest way for you to get checked out. It's a one-stop shop where you see licensed U.S. physician, diagnosed with ED, ship medication right to your door, unmarked packaging. All you have to do is go to GetRoman.com/Benson, complete a dynamic online visit. You chat with a doctor right there, and boom, done and dusted. That's simple. And did I mention it's a free online visit? Get checked today. Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. That's GetRoman.com/Benson. GetRoman.com/Benson. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
Out of South Africa's Kruger National Park, a suspected rhino poacher was killed by an elephant and then reportedly eaten by lions. The park noted in a statement, during the search for his body, his remains were discovered. Indications found at the scene suggested that a pride of lions had devoured the remains, leaving only a human skull and a pair of pants. The incident is under investigation, and authorities are using it as another reminder for why individuals should not engage in such an activity.
Yeah, and we know why they do it, right? We know why. They're looking for it because many people in Asia believe it's an aphrodisiac or it's going to help them, how should we say, perform better. It's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. It is. And you got killed. And and if you think about it, it's there's so many sad parts to this, right? Because you're looking to kill something for it's it's ivory. It's Tusk because, people need those pills. Secondly, it's not some, privileged white dentist or whatever. It's a guy who's probably just trying to feed his damn family in these countries. And the sad thing is it does happen to these animals, but this time the animals, they mess you up, right? You were looking for a rhino, you ran into an elephant, it kicked your ass and killed you, and then you got eaten. You got mowed down. Nobody feels sorry for you. Nobody does. But there's a lot that goes into it. I think we often forget. We think all these poachers are just a bunch of people who are, because we hear this and we're like, and then we realize, wait a minute, this is a poor dude who's probably just trying to feed his family. Oh, yeah. I never thought of that. No, most people don't. I do. Is it sad what happened to him? Sad that his world sucks, that he's got to do this and doesn't understand that there are other pills out there for that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So, Florida, they caught a snake. They've got a new thing that they're doing trying to catch snakes because a lot of these snakes, people get these snakes, reticulated python, Burmese pythons, these large snakes, and they don't realize that while it's a foot long or 2 feet long, that it's going to become anywhere between 15 and 20 plus feet long and weigh in excess of 200 pounds. And they freak out and they don't want to feed it rabbits. And so they let it go. And so what you have is an infestation because it's perfect weather for these animals to breed. And they caught a snake, the largest one they've caught in this reserve, 17 feet, 140 pounds. She is 73 developing eggs at the time using new technology. And I'm like, say, what? But then I'm like, no, it's a perfect place. They've got an infestation of iguanas and a lot of other animals because people don't realize when they buy these animals what these animals are going to become. They don't get it. They don't realize it. And it ends up being a nightmare for these people. And you don't understand what they're going to become. Always ask, how big's this thing going to get? Big enough that it shouldn't have a cage. It should have its own room. Well, then, maybe I'm not set up for that. It's that simple.
In California, the price of regular unleaded has shot up almost 20 cents a gallon in the past week. In some areas of the state, regular unleaded is nearing $4 a gallon. Economist Severin Borenstein at UC Berkeley says the blame is on refinery problems.
California has very few producers, and we generally run a very tight supply-demand balance.
Analysts say prices here could top $4 a gallon soon for the first time since 2014.
On top of that, nationwide, it's going up. I'm out here. Beautiful Arizona. I've noticed the place I normally get gas, it was at $2.50 at one time, is now closing in on $3 for unleaded gas. It is expensive. And I was talking to you, producer Phil. You said gas prices have gone up out there in Virginia. It is up everywhere. And it's part of that switching to a different blend. And it's the tight refinery and its consumption. We're consuming. It's going to be one of those things where at least for the next couple weeks and potentially months, you're going to see gas prices rise a little bit. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And tweet at us. Many of you are texting in. I'm a cat person. I'm a dog person. I have both. I have a lot of animals. I love them all. And yes, they do make me happy. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
We will close the damn border.
But on the broader issue of legal immigration, Trump seems to be shifting his position. In his 2019 State of the Union address, the president declared,
I want people to come into our country in the largest numbers ever, but they have to come in legally.
Trump told reporters, I need people coming in because we need people to run the factories and plants and companies that are moving back in.
Yes. I'm good with that. We need people to come here because we are not producing the human beings that will need to take us forward. We also need to realize that we are a country, right? We have a culture. It's great that you love our culture, but you really love yours, but you want to do more of you here. Now, that's not what we're looking for. But we need comprehensive reform that allows it and makes it easier for people to come here and work. There needs to be comprehensive reform that includes air and sea. People are coming here. They're overstaying their visas for whatever reason. Not all of it's nefarious. I know a lot of people like that. Oh, it's all their commitment. No, most of it is because they made a life for themselves here. But we need comprehensive reform. You've got Kirstjen Nielsen, who's out, right? She's gone. She's done. She's dusted. They got into a fight. On numerous occasions, I have a feeling they have really gotten into it because he wants somebody that's tougher. Over the weekend, he's screaming and yelling to tell everybody, hey, guess what, guys? We're done. It is full.
I told my people yesterday our country's full. We're full.
Full.
Our system's full.
Full.
Our country is full.
Full.
Can't come in.
Nope.
Our country is full.
Nowhere to go.
What can you do?
I don't know.
We can't handle anymore. Our
I'm
country
asking
is
you.
full. Can't come in.
Can't.
I'm sorry.
Nope.
It's very simple.
That's it?
Get out.
Okay.
Sorry. Get out.
Bye-bye.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Can't handle it.
Bye. No. We're full. We're full. Not really full, but we're full. Not really, but we're full. See, we have issues. We have issues. Let's be 100% honest. We have issues that need to be dealt with. 4 states are fighting a battle on their border. Arizona, California, New Mexico's got issues. And realistically, if you look at it, you're like, wow, Texas too has some serious issues. We've got real issues. Needs to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with. How do we deal with that in a way that is real? What's going on at the border is a sham. I agree with Trump 110%.
The asylum program is a scam.
Scam.
Some of the roughest people you've ever seen. People that look like they should be fighting for the UFC.
Yeah. Which isn't a bad thing, right? Like what people look like, UFC. I will say this. I had somebody insult me last week because I have tattoos. Says, who do I represent? You're a fat person. Not really. But, I don't know what and you have all these tattoos. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but whatever. But I understand what he's saying. Right? I get it. It is a scam. The asylum thing is a scam. We all know that. 100,000 people come here. All 100,000 of you are seeking asylum because in your own country you're being suppressed by your government. We need to find a way to make this work. Screaming and yelling's not going to do it. The problem is the same over and over again as it is every single time that we talk about this. It's the politicians. They don't want to deal with it because there's just too much in it for them to not fix the problem. To not fix the problem. One benefits tremendously in the hopes and prayers that one day they'll have an opportunity to make people legal that have come here in a way that's not right. And in doing so, will what? They'll have voters. It'll be spectacular. The other is enjoyed for years. Cheap labor keeps prices low, keeps all kinds of things low like wages, keeps profits high. We got to figure it out sooner rather than later. This isn't working. How much, though, are people sold on getting this done? I don't think that much. I think right now they're just going to kind of float around and maybe they'll touch on it a little bit. They'll turn it into an issue come 2020, and it'll be tugging at the hearts and minds of people, or the other side being hard when you can be both. You could say, look, we can have empathy for these people, but we also have a country. We need to protect our country. We need to protect our culture. We need to find out what's going on here. We need to figure out what's happening here in a way that's real. We need to stop the flow of people coming here through air, sea, and land that are doing it in a wrong way. And at the same time, we need to encourage and make it easier for people to come here the right way. There is common sense reform. Unfortunately, there's no money in common sense reform. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. And with all of this going on, right? So all of this stuff is happening. All of this stuff is going on. Then you got the great debate over, should we see Trump's taxes? What's going on when it comes to Russia? Stuff that doesn't really, most people, I don't care about Trump's taxes. Most people, they don't care. Well, we want to see. No, the Democrats really want to see. Right? The Democrats really want to see. If he wants to show them to us, if he doesn't want to show them to us, But that's what this is becoming now. It's let's go after him in every way, shape, or form, which doesn't get anything done. Look, you're stuck with him, guys. So you don't want to work with him. I realize that. So you're going to bog everything down, which hurts the American people, and it doesn't further anything. But hey, you know what? That's on you.
He said there's been a lack of transparency. He thinks the president should have put forward his tax returns before he announced or when he announced his candidacy for president, which sounds interesting, but unfortunately, it's not the law.
No, it's not the law. And what they're trying to do now is they found some bizarre little loophole thing where they want to look at Trump's taxes and say, we want to make sure that he's getting a fair shake, that the IRS isn't doing anything just untoward to him. So the best thing that we can do is investigate the IRS, and investigating the IRS, we could take a look at his taxes. Does his base care?
Voters knew the president could have given his tax returns. They knew that he didn't, and they elected him anyway.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody cares. I don't care that I saw Hillary's. First of all, you get a portion of a story, not the whole story. Secondly, I don't care. Maybe you do because you want to see what loans he's got, right? But if you look at his personal taxes, here's the funny thing. You look at his I think the biggest thing for him is he's probably not worth what he says he's worth. Or at least that's not what he's putting on paper. And if it comes out, he can't come out and say, no, I'm really worth $4 billion. But so there's that. Secondly, you're not going to see on his personal taxes what his business is doing. You're not. So does it matter? Does it matter to you? I mean, I'm curious about that. Does it matter to you on this? To me, it doesn't. I just don't care. I don't care if 8 years ago when he wasn't running for president that he got a loan from Saudi Arabia, or he got a loan from Deutsche Bank, or he got a loan from some Russian bank. I don't care. But Chad, he could be influenced. He's not. They're going to want to tell you he's influenced by all these things, but he's not. He's not. There's not some, it's amazing. You don't have to like him, right? I don't like a lot of the stuff he does, but the reality is it's just settle down. But that's what they're going to make this next 2 years about. And I keep telling everybody, we're, God knows what, 500 plus days away from the next election. As we move in that way, we're going to hear about this day in and day out. They're not going to let it go. Adam Schiff's going to be on TV every day. They're all going to be out there doing stuff, talking about this. He's evil. He's a fascist. He's a white supremacist, right? And all of that being said, the reality is if the economy stays strong, if the economy continues to move forward, if we don't see a dip, and if we see a dip, it is minute, and then right back up we go. If that still happens, all of those things being said, doesn't matter. Does not matter. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Got a poll question today. Cats and dogs. New poll, new study out says that people who own dogs are happier than people who own cats. People who don't have any animals are about the same as people who own dogs. And cat people, they're not very happy. Not very happy. I have both. And I love my cat. I have 3, who's awesome, and my dog Doodle. And I have Kitty Cupcake, and she's just Kitty Cupcake. She does her own thing. But 3 is amazing. Like, I couldn't imagine. I got a cat that shows up in my house like 2.5, 3 months ago. And within a week, we all love him, and he ends up getting shot, and we end up having to spend all this money on having his leg removed, and we love him to death. I couldn't imagine. I mean, he is like a big dog, and he's huge, too. He's massive. I couldn't imagine life without him. So I'm a bit of both. Plus, I got my lizards. What are you? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet us. If you're a cat person, there's only one place to go, Pretty Litter. It's Kitty Litter 2.0. Let me tell you something. One of the things about, cats is they kind of do their own thing, and they have their own, litter box. They do their own thing. It's not like dogs. Come on, let's go outside. Cats have their own box, and it's kind of gross, and it's old school, and it's you go and you buy it, right? It weighs like 100 pounds. It's like, putting cement inside your your basket, and not with Pretty Litter. Pretty Litter is amazing. Tiny bag will last you a month. Odor protection like you couldn't believe. Absorbent crystals that actually trap and conceal odor. And here's the other thing, and this is the amazing part. It actually will monitor your cat's health. Changes colors to detect underlying illnesses, which will save you money, which will save you stress and potentially your cat's life. Pretty Litter is amazing. Get it. You will see for yourself. Do what I did, put it to the test, and you're going to freak out when you get this little bag. You're like, this thing's not going to last a month. It's going to last a month. Absolutely. 20% off right now. Go to prettylitter.com. Use code Chad. Prettylitter.com, code Chad. Prettylitter.com, code Chad. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. Anti-vaxxers and America, you guys are liars. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Delta, JetBlue, Southwest. In that order, please. According to the 29th Annual Airline Quality Ranking, those airlines were best in terms of on-time performance, mishandled bags, customer complaints, and the number of times people were bumped from flights involuntarily. Alaska Airlines, Hawaiian, and United ranked 4, 5, and 6, followed by Spirit, American, and Frontier. The report shows customers actually complained less last year and had fewer lost bags. There were fewer planes arriving on time, but it was only down a fraction from the year before.
Yeah, I'm flying on Wednesday and Friday. So I tend to travel a lot. I'm mostly American, and they're okay. I don't have a problem with them. As long as you get me to where I'm going, we're good. I'm flying Delta for the first time in a long time, but they get high marks as well. So this will be interesting to see. But if you're, Frontier, Spirit. Did you see the stand-up seats, Producer Phil? Did you see the stand-up seats that the Italian guy wants to have?
No, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah, stand-up seats. It's standing room. It is festival seating. We're going to open the doors. You guys all run, and we'll see where we go. Stand-up seats, just to see. It was like it's in the early phase. It's a design. We'll see how that goes. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So, America, we are liars. We are absolutely liars. According to a new study, we only have about 4 hours a week of free time, and that is a bunch of crap. It's absolutely a bunch of crap. What it should say is America lies. They said the average person has just 4 hours and 26 minutes of free time per week. Now, I will tell you this right now. I work a lot. I was up at 4 this morning. I won't get home till 8 o'clock tonight. I do 3 radio shows. 3 radio shows. I do a lot of work. I travel. I have more than 4 hours and 26 minutes a week. It's how do you consider it free time, right? Like this weekend, instead of doing some of the stuff I wanted to, I said, hey, I'm gonna make some free time for myself. I had nothing. Went, saw a movie, did church. I enjoyed some time. Are there weeks where I don't have a ton of free time? Yeah. But to say that the average week, that's a bunch of crap. It is such a bunch of crap. I don't even know where, if you think about it, right, just for a second, if you think about it, if you did everything you were supposed to without screwing around, right, so without being on your phone, without Facebooking, without doing all of the things that you're doing or Twittering or, if you did the things you were supposed to, just 8 hours a day at work, how much more could you actually get achieved? Even if it's 40 minutes or an hour to and from work. You'd still have 14 hours of goof around time. Say 8 hours of sleep. So let's say you said 3, 4, 5 hours. Maybe the kid's soccer game, but there's other things you could do. So you mean to tell me you can't find 1 hour? That is we're so full of crap. Among the tasks most commonly brushed aside, they said, cleaning topped the list with 48% of adults postponing such chores. 40% they've admitted put the brakes on car maintenance, while a third routinely pushes back plans to go shopping. But what are you? Because chances are what you're doing is you're delaying a chore, not because you're busy, but because you want to do something else. Well, like, I could clean the house, or I could go to the movies and have dinner. It's not because, oh, God, I got to do more work. There are some weeks, I'm sure it's like that for some people. Or you've got to do stuff with the kids. But there's enough time, right? So it's the same kind of thing when people say, I just don't have time to work out. It's a bunch of crap. If you want to work out, you'll find time to work out. Really, what this thing should say is, we lie. The study says Americans lie about whether or not they have enough free time to do stuff. Such baloney. Some of the other stuff. Here's researcher also put together a list of things that people would buy if they got tax refunds. Motorcycle tires was number one. I don't even have a motorcycle, but I really want scuba gear. Also lying. People are lying about that. This is so stupid. A scooter. PlayStation 4, a trip to Niagara Falls, a party, a lawnmower. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Got a poll up. We'll touch on that. America, what's up with us and God? Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
My marriage to Chasten has made me a better man. And yes, Mr. Vice President, it has moved me closer to God. And speaking only for myself, I can tell you that if me being gay was a choice, it was a choice that was made far, far above my pay grade. And that's the thing I wish the Mike Pences of the world would understand. If you got a problem with who I am, your problem is not with me. Your quarrel, sir, is with my creator.
Ooh, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, but we're just going to call him Mayor Pete. Taking a swipe at Mike Pence. You know, Mike Pence is, again, evangelical, big Christian, leads with his faith. He'll tell you first and foremost he is a Christian before he's anything else. And, you know, Buttigieg is coming out because he's gay. Shocker. Shocker. You're going to find this out anyways, right? I hope this isn't a spoiler alert. He's gay. He's married to a man who plays a big part also in his campaign and who he is. And he's come after a lot of the people out there who, you know, evangelicals in particular, when it comes to Trump. And then he's come out again after Pence on more than a few occasions.
You said it's hard to look at his actions and believe that they are the actions of somebody who believes in God. How do you square that assessment with the fact that the evangelical Christian community is so devoted to his candidacy?
It's something that really frustrates me because the hypocrisy is unbelievable. Here you have somebody who not only acts in a way that is not consistent with anything that I hear in Scripture or in church, where it's about lifting up the least among us and taking care of strangers, which is another word for immigrants, but also personally how you're supposed to conduct yourself. Not chest-thumping, look-at-me-ism, but humbling yourself before others.
Yeah, he's coming hard. He is. He's very interesting. If you've not seen him, look at some of the stuff. Don't have to like everything. I find him to be, here's my thing. I find him to be fascinating in a very crowded, very cuckoo, very running all over the place, tripping over one another to apologize for everything, making no sense on a lot of stuff. I find him to be refreshing. Does it mean he's going to be the winner? No, it doesn't. But I do think when he gets on stage, he's going to make some noise. And the question for a lot of people is, but he's gay. But he's gay. But he's gay. Is he any good? Right? But that's a sin. I realize that. Right? But we are all sinners in the eyes of the Lord, right? Like, have any of you ever sinned? Any ever lived with a woman? Had premarital sex? You're trying to like, well, this is worse than, you know what? He's going to be formidable. And I understand what he's talking about. I do. I understand what he's talking about because I've talked to a lot of people about, because they'll come up to me about, oh, Chad, you're a Christian? Yeah, and? I don't agree with everything that he says. I'm also one of these people that I look and I said, look, I don't want choice to be taken away from people. That's between you and your maker. You do the thing you got to do. I think there's a cutoff date, but the reality is you are going to try to do what you want to do, and that's between you and your maker. Right? I know I would choose, but I'm not forcing it on you. But for a lot of evangelicals, they look at Trump and they think, ooh, Trump is fighting hard. It's going to put people on the court that's going to overturn Roe v. Wade. Where you get somebody like him, Buttigieg, who is not going to do that. He's not. He is somebody who is about choice. And so for a lot of people, it's pro-life that matters. I myself, it's exhausting at times trying to outdo each other. Are we more evangelical? Are we less? Are we atheist? Are we this? Are we that? It's crazy. How about whatever happened to, can you do the job? Can you show up and do the job? Can you do it? Can you actually break the deadlock? Can you get them to move forward? Can you do the actual job at hand? But this election is going to be like no election we've ever seen. We think we've seen some sort of election that was like the election in all elections, this last one. It's not. This next election is going to be ugly, and it's going to be nasty, and it's going to be awful at times, and there's going to be very little policy in it. It's just going to be hammer each other over and over again. And whoever gets the big applause line, maybe they're the winners. I don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Kirstjen Nielsen is out. She's not going to be Department of Homeland Security.
I'm forever grateful and proud of the men and women of DHS who work so hard every day to execute their missions and to protect the homeland. Yeah, to protect the homeland.
As of Wednesday, she's out, and then Kevin McKeelan is going to take over. They said that Trump wants somebody tougher, somebody stronger. And she is, I saw a lot of people coming after saying, well, she should have gone. She's evil. She's bad. She put kids in cages, which went on long before. And that whole thing was blown out of proportions. It's ridiculous. And we act as if, it wasn't covered under Obama, but by a few, but nobody really picked it up. Nobody seemed to care. They cared now. Why? Because it's a way to go after President Trump. But immigration is another one of those things where it's like, where are we going with immigration? Tug at the heartstrings. Here we go. Tug at the heartstrings. You should be a good person and should let these people in because their life sucks elsewhere. Well, it's not my fault that your life sucks elsewhere. That's your government's fault. And us giving them more money that they piss off and waste away doesn't help us at all. It doesn't. I've said, you want to be mad at people? You want to be mad at the people that are coming here? I think if you ask them, they would love to see their country in a situation where they could stay there. Not all of them, but a lot of them, a majority of them, but they can't. You're mad at the governments of those countries and mad at our government for continuing to play this game of grab ass and not doing the things they're supposed to be doing in fixing this. But the people themselves, no. But she's out because she's not tough enough. So they're going to replace her with somebody who will be tough enough. And what that toughness looks like, I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows. Is it somebody that is going to immediately go down and start building the wall themselves, echoing what Trump is saying? Or is it somebody who's going to have their own mind in where they want to take things? Don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. This is very interesting. A guy that is running for president on the left, Andrew Yang, talked about, just like we're talking about, what are the symptoms? You look at immigration. We are now feeling it. All the things are going. What are the symptoms? What caused this craziness over the last several months? We've got a great economy, which is one. We've got failing states in El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, and parts of Mexico where people are fleeing, some because there's just no way no way economically they're ever going to be able to survive. And for others, the violence in that area has made it so it's untenable for them to live there. But what is the cause of that? Failed governments. And he had something interesting about Trump and what basically got him the presidency.
Well, we have to solve the problems that got Donald Trump elected in 2016. And to me, the main driver of his victory was that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, the swing states he needed to win. We're in the third inning of the greatest economic and technological transformation in the history of the country. And we need to evolve to the next form of our economy in order for Americans to have a path forward.
Yeah. We do need to evolve. And we've been talking about that over and over on how do we evolve, because we are going to have a 3-tiered system in this country. We're going to have powerful, elite, wealthy, as well as people that are just, that have built their businesses on their own and have become wealthy and a bit of upper middle class. We're going to have a shrinking middle class, and we have a growing, undereducated, not stupid, but undereducated in the things that need to get done and what you need to learn to be able to either stay in that middle class or graduate to another level. And I don't know if we're going to get there because I don't know if people understand that. I don't. And I found this to be interesting. So he talks about, and by the way, he's all about a basic income, as Andrew Yang, and he's all about the fact that, and same thing with Buttigieg, is the way that we are automating in such a way that people don't understand this. And I found this to be very interesting, what McDonald's is doing when it comes to minimum wage.
Employees at a fast food chain could be saying they're loving it.
McDonald's is saying if to only achieve our own business objectives, but also to recognize that there's a public relations benefit, they're no longer going to lobby against an increase in the federal minimum wage.
Bankrate's Mark Hamrick.
So many years of a lack of substantial wage growth that many people are saying enough is enough.
He says the company is stopping short of saying that they're in favor of raising it. McDonald's has focused more on opportunities for its employees to advance from those minimum wage jobs.
And you know why they're doing this? They'll tell you, it's like, well, we're not going to fight against it because they're looking at automation. We'll have the same payroll with a quarter of the people, and we will, even if we raised it to 15, we will automate to the point where it's not going to affect us any. We're not going to have to raise prices. We're not going to have to worry about somebody calling in sick. We're not going to have to worry about unionization. We're not going to have to worry about the fight for 15. So instead of having 40 people for all getting $15 an hour, we're going to have 10 people, 12 people getting $15 an hour, and we're going to have robots and automation. They'll be smarter, better. Boom. So we don't have to. So yeah, we'll be the good little steward and say, fight for 15. Sounds wonderful. We don't care. We're going to get rid of 90% of you because what we're going to replace you with is going to get the job done and then some fast. New world is coming. Are people prepared for it? Are we training the next generation to understand what the world is going to be like when they get into it? I don't know if we are. I don't know. I see what kids are learning in school. I see where they're going in school. And I wonder often to myself, are they getting the things they need to prepare themselves for where they're going? Are they? Not that the middle class is going to disappear tomorrow. But when you look at everything from us not having children to immigration and bringing in illegal immigration and flooding certain parts of the country to where we're going technologically, I don't know. I don't know if people are getting it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Poll question of the day. You a cat person, dog person? New study says dog people are happier than cat people. Although some of you have texted and says, that's not true. What if I just don't want to answer something like that? Well, there you go then. Right? Is that true or not? are you a dog person, cat person? 56% he said, yep, I'm a dog person, I'm happier. I'm a cat person, just 3%, both. A lot of you are both, 28%. 13% said no animals for me, right? So people who, in the study, people who have no animals are as happy as people who have dogs. Dogs are bigger. I think if you had a cat that weighed 60 pounds, that might be a little bit different, right? That's also another thing. You know, you can get a dog. I think if they looked at the size of animal as well, but dogs inherently, you know, they want to be your pal. And cats are very individualistic, right? They're very individualistic. They're doing their own thing. That study last week, we talked about that cats know their own name, even when strangers said it, but it also said that cats know a lot of other words, but cats only choose to respond when they want to, right? Otherwise, they're like, I don't want to talk to you. I got other things going on. I was going to sleep for 18 hours. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. Hey, I drive a lot. You know that. You listen to the show. I'm from California to Arizona, all over the place. Man, I will tell you what. Thank you to CarShield. My uncle just got CarShield the other day, too. More and more people are getting CarShield, and guess what? It's helping more and more of my listeners. You need to be a part of this. You can save 10% right away. Go to carshield.com. Check out all of the plans they have. This is what you are going to get. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop, and they will get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible, and away it goes. It is that simple. And don't underestimate the car rental. Your car may be there 4 days. Think about it would cost you to rent a car or to take a ride share. Yeah. No, this is amazing. They will take care of you like no other. They got tons of plans. Find the right one for you. Check them out today. Go to carshield.com. Use code Benson. Save you 10% or call 800-CAR-6100. Remember again, mention code Benson. Save you 10%. 800-CAR-6100. Code Benson or carshield.com. Use code Benson. Deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
With the news that President Trump has ordered the firing of the director of the Secret Service, there are questions about a broad house cleaning of leadership at the Department of Homeland Security. Two other top officials, the director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services and the DHS General Counsel, they're also expected to depart soon, according to one official. A senior administration official tells ABC that by the end of the week, more than half of DHS agency heads could be gone, with the positions either left vacant or filled with acting personnel.
Yeah, house cleaning, absolutely. I would assume it is. Trump seems to do this a lot, where he blows through people, and we talk about it on many occasions, where it is definitely a situation where you got a sell-by date. You've got X amount of time to figure it out what it is that you're going to try and get done. And you're going to have to squeeze in 2 years of work into potentially 16 months or 3 years of work into 20 months. And then at some point in time, boom, you're out. And sometimes it's your own doing, and sometimes it's because he doesn't feel that you can get it done. Right or wrong, that's the way he handles it. And there's chaos. And maybe this is what we always wanted, because we're not used to this in public. In the private world, we see this all the time, where we're not happy, we fire you. Where in the public, you just get moved from place to place, and this is new. Well, people are out. Well, aren't we screaming about that? We hear about the VA and how horrible it is, and nobody gets fired. They just get moved around. Maybe this is what it would look like if a business person ran it. I don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter.
Out of South Africa's Kruger National Park, a suspected rhino poacher was killed by an elephant and then reportedly eaten by lions. The park noted in a statement, during the search for his body, his remains were discovered. Indications found at the scene suggested that a pride of lions had devoured the remains, leaving only a human skull and a pair of pants. The incident is under investigation, and authorities are using it as another reminder for why individuals should not engage in such an activity.
Yeah. Dumbass, you got what you got. You got what you got. Period. Case closed. The elephants whooped your ass and killed you dead. The lion said, hey, thank you for the meal. We got you next time. We won't even eat one of your babies. What do you think of those apples, all right? You keep killing, we'll keep eating. We got this thing. Simpatico here, you and I. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Your useless fact of the day. We love to give you these things. First of all, the French poodle is not even French, German. Right? It's always weird. Yeah, they emanate from Germany. And the word poodle comes from poedel, which means dog splash. Soak that in for your day. Have a good rest of your Monday. We'll do it again tomorrow for tacos. As always, night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.